if the Carolina Hurricanes win this series and advance to the Stanley Cup, can the fans make a promise to me and to us to stop playing the victim card so much?
Not possible.
Please.
Nope.
Conference finals begin tonight, and I want to give you a little rundown on everything. Like, this would check the box of in the YouTube space. They say do things that will interest your own people, but also get new people.
CCN, core casual new.
Core casual new. As Bauer people,
that
CCN
was dangerously close.
And
CCN is as far as we can go.
So a Fox News guy is very close to CNN.
Oh,
This is my
a lot of things.
two worst nightmares.
Yes, a lot of things that Pete doesn't like. So let's run through the teams that are there and what this round might have in store for them. Let's begin with the Dallas Stars because we are a Western Conference show. If you want to hear two people prattle on about the Western Conference without any commercial breaks, you want What Chaos. That is from Mike Felger.
Back to like the OG. That was like one of the first shows I feel like we did where we talked about like Western Conference versus Eastern Conference.
West is so much better.
Yeah.
It's so much better.
But now we've reached the point of the playoffs where it's all at the same time. Again, like an 8 o'clock, you don't have to stay up late to watch it.
And you have to think about them in relation to each other, too, because like the winners of those series are going to meet each other in the Stanley Cup final.
Yes. So Dallas Stars, there are headlines with players, but I think the honest biggest headline, especially if you don't watch these teams all the time, Dallas Stars are the rare team that is in the conference finals who has allowed more goals than they have scored this postseason. The Dallas Stars have a -4 goal differential this postseason, yet here they are. And why, you ask? Because at the deadline, they were very fortunate to acquire Mikko Rantanen, who leads the postseason with 19 points because the Dallas Stars have played more games than anybody. Do you know who leads the postseason in points per game?
No.
It's not
His name's Connor.
Of teams remaining, yes.
Connor Brown?
No.
That's you might guess Connor Brown.
That's exactly what I did.
But it's Connor McDavid.
Yep.
Okay.
And I would say that there's 3 guys that are very important right now. Jake Ottinger, their goalie, who has been very good through 2 rounds. Roope Hintz, who plays on a line with Mikko Rantanen and Mikael Granlund, been very good as well. And like their opponent, the Edmonton Oilers, a fun thing with the Dallas Stars is that you could argue they're only getting stronger. How do you summarize the Dallas Stars?
You said 3 names. You only named 2, right? Or Rantanen.
I said Jake Ottinger, Roope Hintz. Oh, yeah, and Rantanen was the one that was kind of given.
Well, I would say that is a complete erasure of Miro Heiskanen, who is
Well,
back.
that's what I said with they're only getting stronger.
Right, but I mean, that's a big name to throw out. And I Dallas is a team that is probably lucky to be here, which is wild to say. But like, we haven't seen the best of the Dallas Stars yet. And you mentioned the goal differential. That's a pretty stunning fact, but also there's reason to think that it makes sense because they haven't gotten their full depth going. They haven't gotten a lot of the scoring depth that we've come to expect from Dallas. And they're the one remaining team that has the biggest on-off switch.
Yes.
Where like they could get blown out 6-0 in any game, but you have faith that they will respond and come back strong the next game and be totally fine.
Yes, I would say that the Dallas Stars have gotten here with smoke and mirrors, and once the smoke clears and you remove the mirror, you could see that there's just like a bunch of guns there, and you're like, oh, so they can
Dangerous.
just get those guns and just like shoot with them, right? So that's the tough thing that I have with the Stars because I will maintain to this point, I think that we are overrating the job that the Dallas Stars have done, but they should still be feared because at some point, the smoke and mirrors is going to stop. And then there's such a long list of guys who could come alive. Their opponent, the Edmonton Oilers, they've got the reigning Conn Smythe winner in Connor McDavid, and they've got a Hart Trophy favorite in Leon Draisaitl. They began the postseason with two horrifying losses, changed their starting goaltender, and have won 8 of 9 games. They have not allowed a goal in 10 days. They have really become just this rush-stopping machine and have surprised me in how much they've been able to kind of alter their identity. I know that their star offensive players have been upset to be asked about them shifting to being such a good defensive team. I'll note, they've shifted to being a great defensive team, but they're still winning the games because everyone on their team is scoring.
Yeah. They have probably the most dynamic forward group remaining left in the playoffs. And that we've seen that throughout these playoffs. Like, they're getting by not as a two-man team with McDavid and Draisaitl. Of course, those two guys are certainly helping, but they are getting contributions up and down the lineup, which has been great. Where I have my concerns with Edmonton, as always, is kind of on the back end, which I do not think that they have the defensive edge, at least on the blue line, in this series. And I definitely do not have faith that they have the edge in goaltending, which Stu Skinner versus Jake Ottinger. Stuart Skinner was the better goaltender last year in the Western Conference Final. Nobody should be confident that that'll happen again.
I agree. I think that I think nobody should be confident, but also nobody should be or will be surprised.
Nobody should erase the possibility.
Yes. If it happens, we'll just be like, this is what happens, this is what he does, and this is what he does. But yes, I think that you go into this saying that the edge is definitely in favor of the Stars goaltending-wise. Not overall-wise. What do you make of this series and how these teams match up against each other? Because my big one is, and Chris Knobloch talked about this, they just had a series, the Oilers, albeit a quick one, of them playing a very good rush team and saying, like, you don't get to do any of the shit that you want to do. They're now going up against a weaker version of that based on how the Stars are playing right now. So it should stand to reason.
Weaker than Vegas?
Yeah, based on like who was going. Yeah.
I mean, Vegas didn't get a single goal from their top 5 scorers. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like
they
took those guys away.
Yeah, but I have a lot more faith in Dallas's bottom 6 versus Vegas's bottom 6.
I think that's fair. It gets confusing because you're like, do you base it on overall as people and as players? Because at that point, like, Wyatt Johnston's in the bottom 6 for Dallas.
Right.
Like, that's unbelievable. But Wyatt Johnston's not doing anything. So what is he going to do when he goes up against a team that the way they're playing shouldn't have much of a problem taking him away, which is famous last words.
Vegas was also without Pavel Dorofeev, who was one of their better scorers. Like, I think there's reason to believe that Dallas stands a better chance of making more noise offensively than Vegas did against Edmonton.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think, and I've said this before, if both teams play the way that they've been playing, I think that
I would agree. Like,
this is a 5 or 6 game Edmonton win. I think that this is the playoffs, and we've watched too many postseasons to know that in 3 days we're going to be talking about a player that we haven't even mentioned.
Right.
And we're going to be saying, like, what now that Johnson's dominating, do they have to now put Draisaitl against him instead or something? Like, this is just going to happen. Jason Robertson's going to start doing stuff. And Tyler Seguin is going to go off. Like, something is going to change, or Connor Brown is going to stop scoring.
Things always change. And, like, to that point, the Dallas Stars are one of the worst teams in the league heading into the playoffs for the last, like, 3-4 weeks of the season.
Yes.
So, like, things change very quickly. So it's hard to be like, based off of the way that things have been going to this point, at some point you at least have to lightly push a reset button.
This is also the closest series in terms of there is not a favorite. It's a pick'em per betting odds. I am going to, and I can't believe this because I've been very cautious as an Oilers fan throughout this postseason, but I think the Oilers win this series. I'm happy to do a Jim Calhoun, I fucked up, I was wrong, what do you want me to say sort of thing. I'll do that when the time comes, but I favor the Oilers for the reason of they're way deeper in terms of who's actually doing like the Oilers right now don't have a player they have to worry about outside of their goalie, who is coming off of back-to-back shutouts and just stymied this team a postseason ago, and they're getting their number one defenseman back during the series. So I think it's probably going to be a close series, and I won't be surprised if it goes either way. I think the biggest surprise to me would be if Dallas just like walked Edmonton, but anything can happen.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
Where do you go?
I'm like, logically, I want to say Dallas, but I just can't shake what Edmonton's been able to do to this point in terms of adjusting their game based off of what's in front of them. Like their ability to be a lockdown defensive team when they need to be, when things look a little shaky, or turn it into a track meet. Like they can win both ways. It's, to me, like the big X factor. If Stu isn't good, he's going to lose them this series.
Yeah, but Jack Michaels said something with us yesterday that I was thinking about the rest of the day, which is outside of injury, Stu's not coming out like until Pickard's healthy. Like, and even once Pickard's healthy, Stu would need to be playing poorly to lose the job. So as long as Calvin Pickard is out, the net is Stu's no matter what. And that, to me, honestly brings me more confidence than it brings me fear. And I'm trying to figure out why I feel that way. Like, there's not Rodrigue just is not coming in. So the job is yours. If you play poorly tonight, you're playing again tomorrow. So this thing of like, oh God, what are we going to do? Like this surge just won't stop. That's probably not going to happen.
And if you know you're getting the entire series, you do have to acknowledge that Stu Skinner historically gets better as series go along.
Right. So there might be like I think Jack was saying something that suggested he thought Dallas will probably come out and win game one. And I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. And if Dallas takes both of the home games, then obviously I worry a little bit, but that's not what it's looked like so far for this team. Like they lost the first two games of the first round, but there were harmonicas and there was just all sorts of asshole stuff. They would need to really flip an off switch to get to what they were when they were losing.
Yeah.
Although I'll still say overall, like this is the best opponent that they're facing. I think that Vegas is better than what Dallas just faced against the Jets. So if you want to do some transitive property shit there, you can if you want. But I think that this is the hardest series that Edmonton's going to play. So
definitely.
Buckle up. Let's go to the Eastern Conference.
Before you do that, I got to run in my baby bladder. I got to pee my pants. Bye.
Okay.
Set that up.
Yes. Where the Carolina Hurricanes are once again back in the conference final against Florida Panthers. And I said earlier in the show, the Hurricanes always make mid-sized playoff runs. They make like medium-long runs. 5 straight years of getting out of the first round. Nothing to sneeze at. Second time in the last 3 years that they are in the conference final. This is an interesting team because this was supposed to be a pivot year. People talking about whether or not Pete peed on his pants. Or
no, they came like this. They're calico cut.
I didn't pee on my pants.
It's got nothing to do with this. Yeah, you got to give.
You got to give.
Watching, no pee. No pee. No. Clean stuff.
It's got nothing. Yeah, he knows that he didn't pay that wrestler to do that video. He did it because they're friends. They went to high school together. They lost their virginity the same night. Okay? Hurricanes were supposed to be in something of a transitional year. They lost Brett Pesce in the offseason. They had traded for Jake Gensel last year, and he was great for them, but he left for the Lightning in free agency, and this was supposed to be something of a transition, but no, they got off to a good start, so they said, fuck it, we're trading for Mikko Rantanen. They trade for Mikko Rantanen. They trade one of their best young players, Martin Necas, for him, and Rantanen doesn't really do anything for the Hurricanes, doesn't want to stay, so they flip him for Logan Stankoven, and now somehow Logan Stankoven is on the Carolina Hurricanes. It wasn't all the moves they made. They also traded for Taylor Hall, who has been kind of really good for them, and they extended Taylor Hall, and now here they are once again with the best goaltender in the playoffs, we should note, Freddie Anderson, and they're back in the conference final.
I think that this is the best version of the Hurricanes that we've seen.
This is definitely my favorite Hurricanes team.
You think so?
Yeah.
Like last year, they had Gensel, and Gensel was going for them, and like it felt like maybe that was the best version, but it feels like this is the most optimized version in a way. And like they have the goaltending, and Svechnikov has been the top tier, top echelon scorer that we've been waiting for the Hurricanes to have. So maybe we're in the midst of his pop year, but really I think it's the goaltending, because they look exactly what you would expect them to look like, but they also have the best goaltending in the playoffs so far, and that has made the difference.
The Hurricanes have been accused of being boring, both endearingly and derogatorily, and that's been kind of their identity. But we've said on the show, they're not boring. They've had some uninteresting series. They played the Devils, who we all knew weren't going anywhere. So we were just like, win that series. It would be a shame if we have to keep seeing the Devils respectfully, because everyone on that team was hurt. But happy for the Hurricanes. Glad that they are where they are. They play the Florida Panthers, the reigning Stanley Cup champions. A team of assholes, and their lead asshole is Matthew Tkachuk. Although you could really say that Sam Bennett might be their lead asshole because he keeps injuring people.
They have an entire stable of lead assholes.
They've got premium assholes, and their lead asshole, maybe, Matthew Tkachuk, got hurt at Four Nations, which gave them the financial flexibility to go out and add some players, and boy, did they. They got Seth Jones from the Blackhawks, who has been playing like 26 minutes a night for them. Awesome. Replaced Brandon Montour, who they lost last summer in free agency, and also Brad Marchand, the great Brad Marchand, who kind of pioneered what the Florida Panthers do. They're led by head coach Paul Maurice, Johnny the Joke Man, and they got Sergei Bobrovsky back there, who once upon a time, not too long ago, we thought had lost his job, and now he's just always in the postseason and leading these long runs. The teams met 2 years ago in the conference final. Panthers swept them, and Hurricanes head coach Rod Brindamore clarified, no, I didn't. Wasn't a real sweep. The games were close. You don't get to say it's a sweep. What do you think happens in this series?
So here's where I'm a little scared that something might happen to the Panthers. And I think the Panthers should be favored in this series. But here's where something might happen. This is the second straight series where the Panthers have faced a team that is under a show-me mandate. The Maple Leafs were absolutely under a show-me mandate. Show me what you got. And in the beginning of their series, they did. They went out and they got a 2-0 series lead, really, really strong against the Panthers. The Panthers punched back and they responded, and the Leafs folded. The Hurricanes are also under a show-me mandate. Because, like you said, mid-sized playoff runs. They have an opportunity to change the narrative around the Hurricanes with this playoff series. And as Don Draper once said, if you don't like what's being said, change the conversation. Something like that. I think I may have gotten that 100% right, but who knows? The Hurricanes have an opportunity here to change the conversation around them and take that next step. And as we said with Mike Ryan earlier, like, you don't start talking about players and teams until they show it to you, like in the way that, like, we never would have talked about the Panthers like this 2 years ago, but then they showed us. So I'm not writing off the Hurricanes, especially with the goaltending now. I will still say at the end of the day, like, I think that the Panthers have more talent top to bottom, and they play a similar style to the Hurricanes. And I think that they can beat the Hurricanes at their own game.
I love the Hurricanes. I think the Panthers are going to win this series because the Panthers are unbelievable. Their roster is unbelievable. Star players throughout, but not just star players, the type of player that you think, that's a guy that you want. That's a guy you go into the trenches with. And they've done it. I think that at some point they're going to run out of gas. And I don't know if that's going to be this round. I don't even know if that's going to be this year. Maybe they go back and they win the cup again. But I think the Panthers are so deep, and they are being propelled by their third line. And that's okay. We talk about the Stars derogatorily having a first line, and that's it. You talk about the Panthers, their third line is doing all the fucking for them.
Yeah.
But they're doing that while the guys who aren't going, like Matthew Tkachuk, still bringing a lot to the table just by being Matthew Tkachuk, not scoring a million goals. But people will forget this. Matthew Tkachuk didn't score a lot as that postseason went on last year.
Mm-hmm.
He's just more motor, and clearly he's hurt. That's fine. I think that the Panthers win this series, and I haven't really thought about it too much, but I just think that we see a Stanley Cup final rematch.
I think that's a significant possibility. I will say for the Panthers, they can't open the door like they did for the Leafs in the last round.
Yes.
I think the Canes have a better punishment potential than the Leafs do.
Better head on their shoulders, too,
yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, oh, man. I should note that this is a series that does have a favorite, and it is the Panthers, and you can understand why. But I'm trying to think of who I want to win this series. I think I want the... Damn. Personally, I want Brad Marchand to win another Stanley Cup. And I think that that's my strongest feeling. I fear the Panthers as an Oilers fan, but I fear the Hurricanes as an Oilers fan. I'd be happy for both teams. That sounds so lame, but I think the most fun story would be Hurricanes getting there.
I want Taylor Hall to win.
You know, yeah, man.
Here's what I'll say. If the Carolina Hurricanes win this series and advance to the Stanley Cup, can the fans make a promise to me and to us to stop playing the victim card so much?
Not possible.
Please.
Nope.
Like, Hurricanes fans have like this wild persecution complex that's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point.
Oh,
where
yeah,
it's like,
I agree.
it is. I feel like the Hurricanes haven't been widely disrespected in a while. And I'm sure they'll see it differently because they're closer to it. They're more emotional about it. But like, everybody acknowledges the Hurricanes as one, or acknowledges Carolina one as like a really good hockey market. It's in the South. It's in a non-traditional hockey market. But I think everybody who knows ball knows it. That place gets banged out, and that town goes crazy for the Canes. Nobody questioning that. But like, number two, they've been a good competitive team for years and years and years at this point. And yeah, the conversation has been they can't get over the hump, but that's because they can't get over the hump. That's based in fact.
Yeah. They've been disrespected, but not by any outside forces. You could be mad at Mikko Rantanen. Like, he disrespected you. He didn't want to be there. That's fine.
You can be wrong about.
Don't take it out on society.
You can be wrong about. I mean, you could be angry about like the wrong narrative that's like attached to Jake Gensel. Where you're like, oh, Jake Gensel didn't want to play in Carolina. I don't know if that was true. I think Jake Gensel said he wanted to stay in Carolina. It's just Tampa made a better offer.
Yeah.
Like, I can understand being mad about that, but it's more just the like nobody gives us any credit sort of deal. I don't think that part of it is true.
Who are you picking in the series?
Florida.
That's the end of that social clip.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as it was happening, I was like, "That's a clip." I'm telling you right now, they don't have that in them. They are very much, cover your ears, Katie, like the Denver Nuggets or like Denver fan base, where when they win, their parade is going to be "fuck you, I told you so." Not I'm excited that we won. More, I'm glad that we silenced the haters.
It's a lot of like, as soon as they win, the first reaction is let's run to Twitter and pick a fight and be like, I fucking told you, and like celebrate the win.
That's
be happy about the win.
That's why I can't fucking stand Denver Nuggets fans. That's exactly what they did after they won the finals.
We all silly like the mayor.